Yes, please, you can start.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So, today I'll be talking about building a minimum viable product. So, we have the table of contents, introduction, understanding MVP, identifying the target audience, core features, building the MVP, testing feedback, and conclusion. So, welcome to the journey of transforming your ideas into reality. This presentation will be exploring how to effectively craft your minimum viable product and understand the importance of focusing on core features that deliver value while minimizing resources. So, understanding your MVP, a minimum viable product, is the simplest version of your product that allows you to gather maximum feedback from your users. Maximum feedback in the sense that when you're trying to build an MVP, this is solely just so that you can solve a problem that you maybe noticed, or you saw an opportunity, or you encountered a problem while doing something, and you're like, oh, I have an idea and I feel like if I develop this solution or create this solution, I'll be able to solve a problem. It helps in validating your business hypothesis while saving time and also resources, and focusing on delivering essential features that solve a problem. Like I said earlier on, yeah, the whole idea of having an MVP is to solve a problem, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have everything in place, or like you have to have all the resources. So you're just the core value, or um the, the core value of everything is to solve a problem as soon as possible, while making your users the center of everything. So when you want to build an MVP, you have to identify your target audience, that okay, this problem that I've seen, or this opportunity that I have found, who is my target audience, and how are they going to embrace it when I put it out to them. The first step in building your MVP is to identify your target audience. Understand your users' needs and pain points is understanding your users' needs and pain points is very, very important. And also conducting market research. So market research in the sense that you have to know that okay, I want to build this thing for this particular set of people. That's why you bring up things like user personas, whereby you maybe put yourself in a third person, that as a customer, I want to be able to get notification anytime I make a transfer or something like that. Then you can go on to have user surveys, which will provide more insight. So you might know you want to go on the path of user personas. You might want to put out a survey using maybe a type form or your Google form, so that it gets more insights on what users would like when they use your product, so that it helps you to guide your product development effectively. Then you have to identify your core features. To create an MVP, start by identifying the core features that addresses the main problem. So you can have like ideas, and they maybe you're focusing on the wrong thing. So for example, if I want to create a payment platform, the core feature there will be me being able to transfer maybe money and also withdraw and all of that. So like if I was going to build a payment platform, I'll focus on my ability to make the transaction of transferring very easy. Then, like I said earlier, you can use techniques like user stories and prioritization matrices. So when you're identifying your core feature, you want to make it easy for everyone that will be working with you. If it's something you are developing, like if I am a developer now and I have like a side project I want to work on, I will have like a list of features that I probably want to develop. So I'll break them down in a way that I will work on the one that is most important, and the one that I can put out maybe after the first few weeks of sprint, and I can send it out to people. Okay, help me test this out, and to see and get feedback. So I know that okay, maybe I'm doing this thing right or I'm doing this wrong, and this will guide your development effectively. Then after defining your features, then you now create a prototype. This can be a simple mock-up or an effective version of your product. So prototyping allows you to visualize the product, gather feedback before investing in full-scale development and minimizing risk. So when you have prototypes, like I said earlier on, you're able to put out maybe the core feature, get like a feedback, so you don't have to go back and forth, you don't have to waste money, you don't have to waste time. And if it's a thing that you have a group of resources around you, they know what they are working on, they know the end goal, they know how to adapt fast into what the feedback has gotten and how you progress from there. Then we go on to the actual building of your MVP. When you're building your MVP, adopt the agile mindset. I believe that in this company, one way or another, we have been involved in the agile practice, which is like a way we manage our projects or products in cases whereby we have planning, we have our daily stand up, all those things are to just make sure that whatever products you are building, it is moving fast and steady. We don't have to wait for one thing or the other. We know that okay, today I'm assigned a task, I'm supposed to deliver it by then. It just makes things easier for everybody, and we don't have to waste time and resources, which is one of the core values of building an MVP. The whole idea is to do something fast and put it out there so that we meet our business value. Developing iteratively, allowing for quick adjustment based on your feedback. Remember, the goal is to test your assumption and learn quickly rather than aiming for perfection on the first try. Then after you must have built your prototype, you must have sent it out for feedback and survey. Then you also have to test. So you can do an in-house testing depending on what your team looks like, or you can decide to send it out by engaging real users to gather valuable insights. So maybe you are working on a project, like I said, like a payment project, and then you build something, or maybe you have your team, you people have built something, but you people might just have like this enclosed inside like mindset that okay, what we have built works fine. So sometimes it is better to send it out to real users to see how they will take this your project or products that you're building, using surveys and interviews to understand their experience and iterate based on their feedback. This step is very crucial for refining your product. So in a case whereby you have product refinement sessions, when you get feedback from your users, you know what you are working on and you don't have to dwell on something for so long. You're able to um assign the right task to the right person. Maybe this person is good at this thing and they will take lesser time. So you know that you when you assign it to this person, it is easier for this project to move faster. And yes, so in conclusion, crafting a minimum viable product is a dynamic process, requires creativity and adaptability. Sorry. By focusing on core features and leveraging user feedback, you can transform your initial idea to a product that makes a significant impact. Thank you. Any question?
Okay, yeah, I guess that is questions. That was actually very quick. So, thank you so much, everyone. My first question before any other person asks is you mentioned that to build your MVP, you should be able to create user story, right? Am I right?
Yes.
So, how do you create user stories? Now, that's for a beginner. I think there's an echo. So, that's for like a total beginner, and the person wants to actually build a product. Person wants to start from somewhere and the person needs to create a user story, like you said. Person will be wondering, how do I go about creating a user story?
Okay. So creating a user story is more or less like you are putting yourself as a beginner, you are putting yourself in a third person that okay, if I want to build this particular product, what are things that I would want to do. Like you assume the position of um maybe like I said, you're building a payment product or a payment platform product. So you will say that, oh, as a trader, I want to be able to receive alerts. So like those are the features, like when things like that, getting notifications are one of the features that you use in video products. So that's in that process of you assuming to be another person or taking up a third person as your identity is the process of creating a user story. Or you can put that, oh, as maybe someone that does business on a that scale, I want to be able to um have reports for like maybe a particular period of time. That process whereby you are thinking as someone who owns a big business is you creating a user persona. So, was I able to answer your question?
Okay. So, do you have questions? If you have questions for Oluwatomi, please go ahead. All right. Let me not ask all the questions. Okay. So while we're waiting, perhaps if you can't what's the question, you can actually send it to me and I'll help you. Okay, so I still have another question. So my next question is okay, is there a difference between building building an MVP and a full scale product? Is there a difference between an MVP calling it minimum viable product? Why is it minimum viable product? What's the difference between it and a full scale product?
If for a minimum viable product, like I said, you don't necessarily need everything to be outrightly written out or like a full on requirement documents. It's just more or less like, let me say in general terms, a sharp product. You want to work on it and get feedback and work on it like an iterative process. A case whereby, okay, I've done like the core features. I want to put it out there and like get feedback so that I don't have to waste time and maybe there's a competition or like a market I'm trying to enter. So when you build an MVP, the idea is to put your product out there, solve a problem, and or create a solution faster than a full scale project. A full scale project would involve that you take time, you don't really go out there for feedback. You are doing everything in house, all your testing, you're not taking it out to anybody. You are not you're not exactly requiring feedback from people. You just want, okay, I have all my solution. I've thought of all the possible risks that can come from building this project. I've thought of all the bad things, I've analyzed the market enough. I know my target audience already. I'm going to take my time. So in this case, a full scale project would take much longer time than an MVP would. So in this case, you have something like a roadmap for an MVP. And the MVP is just like the baby, like let's say something like piggy vest now. So I think when they started, the whole idea was just for people to be able to save the money that they have. That was maybe the idea they had at first, and then they did that and they pushed it out, and they were able to get feedback from people like, okay, they want to be able to log their money for this amount of time, they don't want to have access to it. So then they go back to their dashboard or whatever, their idea room, and then, okay, these people have given us feedback that these are the things they would like for us to implement, and then that's the whole process of an MVP. But a full scale project will not require that they go back, although they might have a roadmap, but they would have considered everything possible. They might have done so much research that, okay, there are products like this, or maybe like Cowrie already has these features. So like they include that, do a lot of research. It will take longer time. They are not waiting for any feedback from anybody. They are just building fully and pushing out at once, or probably even selling to someone or a company that requires that solution or service. So I feel like that is what an MVP is, that's compared to a full large scale product.
Oh, nice. Thank you so much. So for me, I actually took the word sharp sharp. It's more like a sharp
Okay.
sharp product. I like that.
Okay.
So it actually
Okay.
conveyed the
Thank you.
point very quickly. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I still have another question. Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry that I'm really engaging in questions. Okay. I
Yeah, no problem.
finished in a hurry, and so I want us to at least get to the time before we end today's KD. Okay, so
Okay.
my question is, in as much as okay, you've explained that your MVP is more like a sharp sharp. I like that. So I'll just keep holding on to that, like a sharp sharp product, right? Trying to just start something, put something out there. Are there key features that must be included in your MVP? Are there very core things that an MVP should have for it to be considered as an MVP? In as much as we know that okay, this is not a full scale product, so you're not expected to waste time. I think that is even another question. Let me also ask: Is there a time frame? Is there a time frame that is expected of an MVP? We are building an MVP. Is there a general time frame? So I'm kind of asking two questions at the same time.
Okay. So I'll start from the last one that you asked about the time frame. So any MVP that you're trying to build, it depends solely on what that solution or product is trying to solve. So like if I'm building maybe an LMS, I probably want it to be able to allow people to take a course, learn a course, probably get a certificate. So the core features there will be that I would allow, then I go on to your next question, that the core features, then my product is supposed to be able to allow a user to log in, register, and then select a course that they want. So now those are the core features of building an MVP, something that makes it functional. Like the whole essence of building the product is that okay, you identified a particular problem or you saw an opportunity. So that thing, the functional requirements that makes it, is what makes it like an MVP. That's those core features that you know that okay, it's just like I want to build a car, and then I don't necessarily need to make the car the finest or like have the best interior. But the fact that it has a steering wheel, it probably has its gear, it has a dashboard, it has like a windscreen, so that those are the core features of a product. So when you're building an MVP, those things that make it, and the engine, those things that make it functional, like okay, I know that if I buy a car, I shall need to drive. I need the brake to be functional. I need the accelerator or something like that. I need all those things to be functional. Those are the core features. And just because I'm building a car and someone else is developing maybe an MVP for a payment platform, the time would be obviously be different. There cannot be a particular time frame, but usually people try to do this whole thing depending on what their team is like, or maybe the energy they have in putting out this product. They might say okay, within the next 2 months I want to be able to build this thing and push it out for that, so that people can use it. So and I can be building maybe a car or something, and I know that I can't do it alone. Obviously I will need people to, maybe one person that is specialized in like electrical things would have to be there to do it. So it would take me longer time to build a car than like building a payment platform. So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, very well. So I think my take home is that the time frame is dependent on the product, and
Yeah,
also your the core features also is unique. The core features should
yeah,
just be things that can get your product started, not really things that makes it beautiful, so to say, but things that can get the product started. So those are the things that should be the core features.
yes,
Am I correct from
yes,
what you
yes,
said?
you are. Yes,
All
yes,
right.
you are.
So this would be like a follow-up question, and I think my last question. Okay. Somebody asks, what are the
Okay.
keys for a successful MVP? Ibrahim is asking, what are the
Okay.
keys for a successful MVP?
For a successful MVP is to be able to get feedback. When you're able to get a large amount of feedback from your users, then you know that okay, people are actually interested in this product or projects that you might have built. That means okay, it must have solved the problem that they're encountering, and they're able to tell you, oh, this your product that you sold to us or you are bringing to us. Yes, I'm happy that you created it because now I'm able to do this, I'm able to do that. So those are like the keys. That's like the major key of having an MVP for your users to come back to you and tell you, oh, I'm glad that this thing that is there now. It's just like the way we have AI, and the whole idea of an AI is to make things easier for you. So most people when they maybe they want to take on a project or they want to do something or like your final year project or something like that, and then you now maybe send a prompt to the AI and it's able to give you the things that you want. So that feeling that you get that okay, I built something and people are appreciating it and they feel like that solved their problem, and these are the things they want me to they trust that what I've built so far, if I add more to it, they will enjoy the product more. So that's like the major key to building an M- MVP. I hope I answered your question, Ibrahim.
Okay, Ibrahim. Um, all right. So I guess that would be a yes. Okay. And while we are still talking, so if by now you've been considering trying to build your MVP, today Oluwatomilola has given us keys. She has explained that it doesn't have to be that big and mighty the way you are imagining it, but it should just be able to, you should have key features where you know that what's important is this idea you have, people are able to start, people are able to use it, and then in the process of time, you can make it a full scale product where it solves most of um, the what should I call it now, the challenges, or it meets most of the standards that people have for it. Okay, so my own final question before I actually let you go, except maybe somebody else has a question. My own final question is building an MVP. Let's say you belong, every one of us now, we belong to Pincom. Is it necessary to build your MVP in relation to the company's vision and goals? Is it necessary? If it's necessary, then maybe you just explain a bit why.
Okay, it is necessary in the case that in this in this case because at this point you are not it is not a standalone project. You are dealing with a company that has rules and regulations, and as a company, there are some rules that will be guiding them either by the country they are in or like laws that guide certain things that you want to build. So, when as a company like Bincom, you you have to consider the you have to consider that whatever you are building must align with the values that the company sells to people. Like they say that nothing is impossible, there's nothing like impossibility. So whatever you are building, you have to consider the things that the company stands for, and not just because you want to build a solution and probably you want to make money, you want to get that product out there. You also have to consider the internal factors and the values that the company holds.
Oh, great. Thank you very much. All right. So I guess we have learned quite a lot. And maybe if you're considering building your own MVP, try to make sure that it's an alignment with the company while you are still here. Okay. Thank you so much, Oluwatomilola. All right. So please, everyone, let's remember to check the schedule for our presentations. And just like I said, try to ensure that your topics are approved. Try to ensure that your slides are also try to ensure that your slides are also approved. So, okay. Do I start this? All right. Thank you everyone for joining. Do have a productive day.